Thanks for joining us for another DK Custom Products video. My name's Kevin, this is Dwayne, and today we're going to talk about the best sellers for touring models, aka baggers.
And now this isn't by any means a comprehensive list of everything we offer for touring bikes, but it is the top 10 best sellers. By no means my personal favorite or Kevin's personal favorite, but it seems to be you guys' personal favorite because here's the thing. If it wasn't a good product, it wouldn't sell. And these are the best sellers.
Right, and this is over the last 12 months. So let's just dig into it here. The number one best seller for baggers is the tank lift with the deluxe option, and the 2-inch being the most popular. And we'll put a video up in the corner here, so if you don't know why tank lifts are the best seller, watch that video and it may enlighten you. So what's number two, Dwayne?
Number two would be external breather systems with catch cans. Now it's pretty evenly distributed among the different options, including the transformer, because we have external breather systems that are just bolts with screen and foam filter inserts to buffer that carryover. We got hoses that lead to catch cans. We got hoses that lead to small filters. We got entire support bracket assemblies with little channels that reroute that externally. So there's a lot of different options for you guys, but the most popular are the options that include the catch cans.
Right, and we have those in black and in machine cut finish.
That's right.
So number three are the cooling deflector wings. Cooling deflector wings do two things. They reduce the amount of buffeting that you get as a rider and for the passenger. But the other thing that they do is they direct more air onto the engine, cooling it down.
Right, which is exactly what the number one bestseller, the tank lift, does. So tank lift plus cooling deflector wings, they just supplement each other. So a tank lift, lifting that tank, getting it up off the engine, lets that heat dissipate, but gets more airflow there. You can always, there's always room for improvement. So if you install those cooling deflector wings, and I got a picture up here, you can see how they capture those headwinds and they send that headwind airflow right where the tank has been lifted. So those two items just work very well together. Not only that, those cooling deflector wings are adjustable. So as you lift that tank, it just gives you more range of adjustability out of that cooling deflector wing to really dial it in. So we'll move on to number four, the Outlaw Highflow air cleaners. Now this is the order in which they sell the best. That's our 828 series, the 606 series, the 587, and then the 636V. Now, there's a lot of cover options, and here's something I want to touch on because my favorite air cleaner we offer is the 828. The Milwaukee 8 has been out now for about 6 years. If you've ever taken the air cleaner off your Milwaukee 8, you'll realize how ugly it is behind there. You can see the servos, you can see the electronics for the throttle body, and the stock air cleaner is a huge air box, so it hides all of that really well. In the past, people have ran those small stage 1 air cleaners and whatnot, but on the M8, they sort of expose the ugly, just, you know, not very aesthetically pleasing throttle body and electronics. So the 828 being oval shaped, it hides all of that very well. Not only is it oval shaped and large, hiding that, it's also low profile, so it's not obstructive to the leg as the stock air cleaner is. So it's a no-brainer. The 828 is the most popular.
And the other thing about the 828 is that it hides the fact that the throttle body is not centered between the two cylinders.
Exactly
it's
right.
It's off-center between the two cylinders. So the air cleaner, our air cleaners are number four. Number five are the Thunder Torque inserts. Thunder Torque inserts are for the exhaust. They give you a better exhaust note and improve low and mid-range power. And we'll put a video on that up in the corner.
And for you guys that are not aware of the Thunder Torque inserts, it's an exhaust insert. It increases the exhaust gas velocity. And what I like to explain to people, the real benefit of Thunder Torque inserts, if you have stock exhaust, is they let you take those baffles out that dampen the volume. So these M8s, they're quiet, man. They're like a sewing machine. So the best way to increase that volume and make it sound somewhat like a Harley is to get those baffles out of there. Now, when you typically pull baffles out, you lose power. There's nothing in there to capture that exhaust gas velocity and speed it up or even maintain the velocity so it slows down without those baffles in there.
Yeah, you take the baffles out and you're going to have reversion. You have reversion, slows down your exhaust gas velocity. You're going to run hotter because you don't get a fresh charge.
That's right.
I mean, it's just a cascading effect of a bunch of unintended consequences when you take your exhaust out. And the Thunder Torque inserts take care of that problem.
Right. It gives you all the pros of no baffles with a free-flowing exhaust, none of the cons.
Right.
And so then let's move on to, those were all substantial performance increasing products. But, you know, people are buying baggers for comfort because you want to ride them for a long period of time. You want to put miles on them. And that's why our most popular modification, comfort-wise, for these bikes is the Torpack relocation.
Right, to give that passenger some more room.
That's right. And that Torpack relocation, if you have a 2014 or newer, moves it back 1, 2, or 3 inches. And just gets your passenger off your back. You know, it doesn't change the geometries of the bike. You're not going to feel it back there. You're not even going to know it's there. It's a very subtle change visually, but I can assure you the passenger will appreciate that.
Absolutely. And number 7 are the rocker lockers. Now, this is not for M8s. This is for twin cam. So even though this is the bestsellers for the last year, and the M8s, like you said, have been out 6-7 years, and the rocker lockers are not for the M8s.
Nope.
There's still hundreds of thousands of twin cams out there, and they have the tendency to have that top end ticking.
Yeah, and not just twin cam, also big twin Evo applications.
Yeah.
And we touched on it briefly in the recent video of our 10 most popular Sportster modifications. Harley has poor machining. And so that rocker arm support plate, the bolt that attaches it to the rocker assembly, that hole it passes through, it's just a sloppy, poor tolerance, just a lack of quality control on Harley's part. So whenever that support plate gets to rattling around, it starts tapping against that bolt. The rocker lockers, in simplest term, it's a shim. It's a brass shim. So it confirms, it can get beat up. It's not going to deteriorate. It's going to conform to the shape. And it's going to cut down on that ticking. And a lot of people, man, how many times have we heard the story? I spent thousands of dollars. I rebuilt my top end.
Looking for the ticking. And
looking for the problem. And a simple, less than $30 product solved it.
Yeah. Number 8 was this surprised us with the Sportster, and it was not quite as much a surprise here, but number 8 is the Intimidators. And the Intimidators are a valve that goes into the front fork that dynamically adjusts so that when you put on your front brakes, you don't get that front end dive. So you have plenty of suspension left for absorbing the bumps when you hit the bumps. And so the Intimidators are a fantastic way to improve the ride quality on your bagger. They will actually make your rear shocks feel better because you are not unloading your rear shocks. When you put on your front brakes and your front end doesn't dive, then you're not taking a lot of weight off of your back shocks, and so they have a chance to work better.
Right. So on to the next thing, the oil filter relocation kit. Because if you have a touring bike, your intentions are to put miles on it. And you know, at a certain interval, you have to do an oil change. So if you have a touring bike and you're going to put 100,000+ miles on it, you're going to do quite a few oil changes. And I can tell you, the oil filter on your Harley Davidson is in a very inconvenient, susceptible to heat location. So just relocating the oil filter out into the wind makes it easier to change the oil. It lets that heat dissipate from the oil. You know, acts essentially as an oil cooler, and you can also supplement that by adding an oil cooler to that oil filter relocation system. And a lot of late model baggers are water cooled and they don't have an oil cooler. So the oil filter relocation is a very viable means of feeding oil to an oil cooler that your bike may not have from the factory.
And we'll put a video up in the corner here on how easy it is to change the oil with an oil filter relocation on a bagger. And I think the video actually is on a trike, but works exactly the same on a bagger. And number 10 was a tie between the rider floorboard extensions and the passenger floorboard relocator, or the FB16. And the rider floorboard extensions put the floorboards out an inch so that you're getting your feet away from the exhaust. You're much more comfortable. You're not all cramped up. And then the FB16s for the passenger are the same thing. They put them out, they can put them forward, they can put them rearward, they can put them up, they can put them down. Literally 16 different possible locations for the rider floorboards or rider foot pegs.
Right.
So those are the top 10. Now there's a lot of other products that we sell for baggers, as Dwayne mentioned. Some that come in really close behind. These first 10 are the twin adjustable shocks, the next gen shocks, plug wires, the FLVIEDs, oil coolers, and performance oil filters. Those were all very close to being in the number 7, 8, 9, 10, but they didn't quite make the list. So those are the top 10. We're going to do a video in the future showing what our favorites are. These are the best sellers. These are what we sold the most of in the last 12 months.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily what we would do to our baggers first.
Now these are...
Now you're going to be like Devin. Devin, we have the keychain. You can put it up. Nobody cares about your bagger. When we first started this business, Devin was in his early 20s. He says, I'll never have a bagger. That's an old man's bike. And that's when I had a bagger. And he goes, that's an old man's bike. I'll never have a bagger. And then lo and behold, before he even hit 30, he bought a bagger.
Yeah.
And we came up with that. Now you have a Softail. Are you still of the, I'll never have a bagger?
Well,
or
my check knees light hasn't come on like Devin has.
Your what? Check knees?
Check knees. But, I mean, maybe one day. If y'all give me a raise, I can afford a bagger. But as of now, I don't know. Probably not in the cards for me at the moment. But I still love Sportsters. I love Dynas. I love Softails. I get plenty out of those, so I enjoy those. And across country, those type of situations, not my bag. And which in the Sportster video, I mentioned a theme that these are very cost-effective mods for a very cost-effective motorcycle, which is what the Sportster is. Low cost, but it's a great bike. This list. Notice this. These are our best sellers in the past 12 months. The past 12 months has been very tumultuous times, to say the least. So a lot of these mods will make your bike last longer, run stronger, and just prevent you from having to buy a new bike. Buying a new bike for a lot of people was not in the cards this past year. So a lot of these modifications reflect that. Like, hey, a lot of these people, I need some cooling deflector wings. I want this bike to last me a while because I'm not buying another one anytime soon. So I think that's the theme of the bagger list is engine longevity. A lot of these modifications are for longevity and of course comfort.
So again, this is a list of the best sellers for the last 12 months. We're going to be doing another video on baggers of what we would put on our baggers, what the first 10 things we would put
for sure
on our baggers will be. But this is a list of the best sellers. And we hope that you found it helpful.
That's right. Now, if you have any questions about this list or any products in general, all of these products can be seen at our website, dkcustomproducts.com. But if you have any questions at all, especially if it's about fitment, shoot me an email to support@dkcustomproducts.com.
Y'all ride safe out there.